This is a short video of a flight from Samoa to New Zealand filmed on June 25th, 2014 on a lovely sunny day. There's only one airport in Samoa that's capable of taking jet aircraft for long-haul flights. This is Faleolo Airport, and it's located about 33 kilometers, that's about 20 miles west of the capital, Apia, on the island of Upolu. The islands of Samoa are volcanic in origin, and Mount Tafur on the left side here is a volcanic crater quite near the airport. Flat land only really exists along the coastal fringes, so the airport is by the sea, and tall coconut trees can be seen all around the area. As you can see from the size of the buildings, the airport in Samoa is very small. The left side is for arrivals and the right side is for departures, with a public viewing area in between. There are no jetways, so if it rains, the airport staff have to use umbrellas to escort you across the apron and up to the steps onto the plane. The islands of Samoa lie about 13 degrees south of the equator, so they're well within the tropics. Hence, the climate is hot and humid pretty much all year round. You can see here that the air conditioning on the plane causes visible condensation near the air vents in the cabin. The runway runs parallel to the coastline with a 2-mile wide lagoon adjacent to the shoreline. The ocean swell breaks out on the reef about 2 miles out, and this can be seen by the white breakers in the distance and from the change in color from the shallow turquoise lagoon to the deep blue of the ocean. The big island of Savaii is visible in the distance, with mountains rising to about 2,000 meters, or 6,000 feet. Typically, only one jet aircraft is ever at the airport any one time, so there is no need for a taxiway parallel to the runway. Here we are taking off to the west, which takes the aircraft out over the strait between the two main islands of Upolu and Savaii. The aircraft does a left turn after takeoff to head south to New Zealand. The coastal villages near Mulifanua are clearly visible here, with a wide lagoon and reef. Here we are looking back to the airport with the inter-island ferry terminal at Mulifanua visible on the left. Here we're looking inland along the line of craters that forms the spine of Upolu. The south coast comes quickly into view with the nearby resort areas of Lefanga, where the film Return to Paradise was made in the 1950s. In the distance we can see Safata Bay with its mangrove swamps. As the plane climbs, Upolu quickly slides away in the distance, leaving only deep blue Pacific Ocean all the way to New Zealand. Well, almost. About an hour or so into the flight, you start passing over the beautiful islands of Tonga, which are much smaller and more spread out than the large volcanic islands of Samoa. The in-flight entertainment system has on-demand movies, TV shows, music, games, and the air show feature, which shows you where you are on a map, as well as your altitude and airspeed and outside air temperature, and your expected time of arrival. Knowing how much time you have before landing is pretty useful when trying to plan out what movies you're going to watch. And the USB port's very useful to charge up your phone before landing. Make sure you keep an eye on the air show so that you know where you are, and also you take a look out the window every now and again so that you don't miss those lovely islands in Tonga. The Vavau and Ha'apai groups in Tonga are made up of numerous small islets, reefs and shoals, many of which are too small to be inhabited. We see here the inhabited islands of Lifuka and Four, which are the main islands in the Ha'apai archipelago.
So it's when you book your tickets, you have to add in the meal and the drinks. Did you book it through Flight Centre? You book it through the travel agent, because sometimes they don't know. Yeah, so
it's all changed, it's all modern now. But be careful, the curry's quite hot, spicy.
So, between your in-flight meal, your on-demand movies, and gazing down at the islands of Tonga, there should be enough to keep you occupied for the 4-hour flight to New Zealand. The narrow-body flights on Air New Zealand are all one class these days, but you can choose what level of service you get in terms of meals. If you choose the Works option, you get a proper in-flight meal with a selection of award-winning New Zealand wines. Here I have a chicken curry with chocolate cake dessert, a roll and butter, and a glass of Chardonnay. However, the weather in New Zealand in June is unlikely to bear much resemblance to the weather in Samoa or Tonga. Here we're approaching Auckland Airport from the west on a rainy Wednesday afternoon. The flight path comes in over Manukau Harbour, which opens to the Tasman Sea on the west and is not the prettiest part of Auckland. Here we see the thrust reversers deploying on the V2500 engines of the Airbus A320, and there's a little bit of water spray visible from the jet blast in reverse thrust, which is visible on the far side of the engine.